Hello, and welcome to Maybe I Can, exploring possibilities one sprinkle at a time. If you've ever found yourself asking, is this all there is to life? Then you're in the right place. I'm Debbie, author, speaker, entrepreneur, and coach. And every Tuesday, I'm here to share a sprinkle of hope and inspiration. Together, we'll uncover the more joy, more fulfillment, more prosperity, more fun. We'll share stories of transformation, actionable tips, and that little nudge you need to take the next step. So let's embark on this journey of discovery and say, maybe I can, to a life filled with more. Ready to find out? Let's get started. The Maybe I Can show starts now. Weiss, and today I have a wonderful guest who I was privileged enough to be on her show, I guess a couple months ago now. But November is National Family Caregivers Month, and personally, as a family caregiver for over 40 years, I want to highlight family caregivers in the month of November, and our guest is certainly a woman who deserves highlighting. Before I introduce you, though, let me just take a moment to share a little personal excitement in my life. Yesterday, my second book, The Sprinkle Effect, A Guide to Creating a More Colorful and Fulfilling Life, launched. And for those of you on YouTube, I should have had it in front of me. Yay, here it is. So get out there and order it. The link will be in the show notes, and it's on Amazon and barnesandnoble.com and all those places. And then, hey, reach out and let me know what you think. Your feedback means everything to me. Okay, with that, let me introduce you to Savina, Savy Makalena. She's a lifetime caregiver, a daughter, mother, and mentor with a Bachelor's of Arts degree in business management and an extensive background in business strategies, financial management, sales management, marketing, branding, training, all the things. She is currently the CEO and founder of Gimme A Break. She's the producer, creator, host of the Caring Caregiver Show and the publisher of the Giver's Guide magazine. The past 10 years, she has devoted her time as a caregiver for her mother and father in the final stages of dementia. Currently, and I just want to make sure this is still true, she stands steadfast at the side of her spouse in their battle with cancer.
Yes.
Okay. Well, with that, Savy, welcome to the show.
Hi, Debbie. It's so great to see you. And I can't believe how much time has gone by, but congratulations. I'm so excited for your book. And I know we talked about it when you came on my show. So I'm so happy to see that manifested. Just congratulations and sending you a lot of hugs on that. Great job. I'm really excited about it. I can't wait myself to see what's in the book. So thank you.
Thank you. And for those who can't see and maybe they, don't know why she has that background, she is coming to us from beautiful Hawaii.
Yeah, this is actually the view that I grew up with. So I was born and raised on the east side, and a lot of people that have come here will know the mountain to my right ear here is Cocoa Head. A lot of people go there and climb it. It's a famous hike up this mountain. And then to my left ear is Hanuma Bay, which is a beautiful national wildlife sanctuary where a lot of people have probably gone scuba diving. So those were my playgrounds as a child.
Oh my goodness, I can't even imagine. I'm getting the chills just as you're describing them. Literally, I am. What a beautiful place to grow up and to live.
Yeah.
So let me start with my traditional question, which is to ask you, can you tell us about a time where you went from a defeated I can't mindset to an empowered maybe I can attitude?
I love that. And this was one of the things that drew me to you was because of that question and why we connected up. And I'll tell you that it was really when my mother was placed into care. She, in her final stages of dementia now, and when she was late in stage 6, early 7 stage, which is the final, she just reached a level of care where I could no longer provide that. And by having nursing staff coming into the home, it was costing between $20,000 and $30,000 a month, and we couldn't sustain that. And I had to make the decision to place her. And it was one of the hardest decisions I really, and I've made some tough decisions in my life, but that was a really tough one. And the whole experience of caregiving left me exhausted, overweight, ill, mentally, physically, just in a decline. And so I went basically from caregiving to my mother, placing her into 9 months of depression. I myself became suicidal. I felt like there was nothing left to do. There was nothing out there. I was done. I couldn't possibly go back to work like this. I was a mess. And I did. I went into 9 months of depression. And just one day, maybe I can. And I snapped out of it and I realized I can do something about this. I can't just let this happen. No caregiver should ever have to go through this. And that's when I began Gimme A Break. And I founded Gimme A Break as a nonprofit organization to care for caregivers and to provide them with all the things I didn't have, and so that they could survive it. And that was my maybe I can moment.
So I have a few questions. One was, do you remember anything in particular which made you just wake up one day and snap out of it?
You know, I was crying most of the time, right? And I am such, mind you, you read my bio and thank you for skipping over so much of it. But, I've been a power executive my whole career. I've worked and I've trained executives, right? I've grown companies. That's what I do. I'm a power woman. What am I doing sitting here crying? And I was just a mess. I couldn't believe how far exhausted my mental faculties had gotten. I just was a lump.
Yeah.
And I think it was that sudden realization. And I don't know how it even came to be 9 months. I don't know if maybe that was the gestation of a wonderful thing, but I just sort of woke up one day. I remember now. Believe it or not, I was watching a lot of, those holiday movies that come on. We all watch them. I won't sponsor a channel right now, but you know what I'm talking about.
Oh
We all
yeah,
watch
I'm an
those
addict.
holiday season and
Oh
we
yes.
have our good cry, and it was just a particularly one that had me feeling like a release, and I just was just sobbing and sitting there, and then I realized how sorry I was feeling for myself,
Yeah.
and that I was doing and accomplishing nothing for someone who spent her whole life accomplishing things. And that was that aha moment when I realized, wait a minute, I can do something. And I wanted to leave a legacy for my parents. I wanted it to be something that left a legacy so that they would know, people would know that my parents and who they were and what we went through. And so that was how it all came. It just culminated into this one big aha moment and snap. I can. It wasn't just maybe, actually. It was that I can do this. And that was almost 5 years ago.
Mm. And we'll get to in a few minutes what you've done, which is absolutely amazing. Just proves how much of a power woman you are. But I just want to dive a little bit more into your caregiving story. So, one, do you have any siblings that were able to help?
Well, I have a sibling to that question. I have an older brother, and he was not involved as much. So, and I think what it taught me also is not so much to, judge people, but to understand that everyone has their cap and everyone has their limitations. And so it wasn't something that I was able to get a lot of support from my one sibling. It was something I had to do on my own.
And were you able to make decisions on your own without any
Yes. So
arguments? Did you have
for yeah,
100% control?
Right. So fortunately, I guess because of that and because of that whole non-judgment zone attitude that maybe I have, it didn't put that pressure on him. And he just basically said, you know what, you go ahead, make the decisions. You're in control. You got this. Just let me know what you need. And so, it was fine. And I think that it actually probably worked out better. He and my father didn't really get along very well. And I don't know if they were ever able to come to terms, but that's like we say here in Hawaii, we say kuleana. That wasn't my kuleana. It wasn't my cross to bear.
Yeah.
So I allowed that to just be on his shoulders and he can, come to terms with that. But yeah, it was a little tough because I know I didn't always have that. Um, my partner was my support, but working full time because I couldn't work. I lost my job, I lost my executive position, I lost everything, and to this day I have no savings or anything left because that's all gone into the nonprofit. But that's another subject about caregivers and losing
Yeah,
their
absolutely.
employment.
That is
So that's I
absolutely
could talk
true.
for
And
hours
one
on
that's
that,
not
right?
talked about enough, I don't think.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, I think it's getting a little more out there because, I know that, and you'll know better than I am, there's different bills and whatnot that are there to try and ease caregivers, financial
Well,
burdens
and
and
I wrote a bill as well, right? So I have a bill that's going to the legislators this year. Again, last year it wasn't in time, but this year we've had a full year to prepare. And this is a bill that makes an adjustment to the unemployment system that we currently have to allow caregivers to get paid. So I know this is a shameless plug, but please go onto our website and support the bill. I will be in Capitol Hill next week, and I'm taking signatures with me. So it is backed by our Hawaii senators. And so just a quick blurb about that. I am trying to make change happen for that so that caregivers can get paid because I lost my income.
absolutely. Just you'll give it again, but since you just said that now, tell people where to go to find
Uh,
out.
Really easy. Just think of Gimme A Break and then take the first letters, GAB. So GAB, and Hawaii is 808. So GAB808.org.
Perfect. Okay. So, it's funny because I have a younger brother and he didn't want any part of it either, not in a bad way. So I kind of understand, on the one hand, I don't know about you, but for a while I was resentful that, he lives in a different state. So geographically, it
Right.
obviously made it a lot harder. I'm the one here, was the one here with my father. But, sometimes it was just hard to listen to like what he was doing on a weekend,
Yeah.
when I
And you
had
couldn't.
to deal with whatever was going on. And I did get a little resentful. And I think um, it took me a while to get past it. But in hindsight, I think, well, you know what? I'm glad I was in 100% control.
And I mean, I do appreciate calling the shots, but it is exhausting. And
It
trying to get
is.
family support is something so important. And with what I know now, I think I would have approached it differently. I would have had more conversations, more communication, and try to get better support because it darn near killed me.
Yeah.
And I don't think that he'll ever appreciate or know that. And I think that if we needed to be in it, we needed to be in it together, even if it was planned in some way, and just better communication.
Yeah. Communication. I agree with that. And so now, so are both your parents gone?
My father passed a year and a half into caring for him.
Okay.
And he actually had a stroke, which was a complication due to caregiver burnout. Found out later that they had been hiding my mother's dementia diagnosis, and that it made it
Wow.
seem as though she was taking care of him, but he was actually caring for her, and they were hiding her illness. And my mother is now 10 years now, and she is in her final stage of dementia. So she's non auditory, non ambulatory, non responsive. And so uh, she will hopefully be with my father soon, and not be where she is now. But yeah, it's been a rough
How
journey.
is that for you now?
Um, it's a roller coaster of emotions. I think I cope because we have our we have our weekly support sessions that
Yes.
a group of caregivers that we get together. And I've been doing this now for nearly 5 years, every Tuesday evening. And that's kind of helped me to cope as well. I don't know how caregivers are doing it without that support, or without that communication and community. So I reach out to caregivers, we're here for you, or find one in your area, because you need that community to support you through all of that. I think that's the only way that I cope with everything that you have to go through emotionally and physically when it comes to especially the end of life part. That's really hard.
Yes.
It's really
Very
hard.
hard. Agreed.
Yeah. And then
Agreed.
there's always those Christmas movies, I mean, it helps you release a lot.
Yes. This is true. And it also causes me to not sleep because no matter how much I turn it on upstairs in my bedroom and I'm like, I'll 10 minutes and then two
Right.
hours.
And then you
I'm
get
like,
roped in and the plot twist, and that at 59 you got to wait for the kiss. It's like
exactly. I know what's happening, but so why do I have to keep watching it? It's
I know.
crazy, crazy.
It's funny.
I
I know.
it is definitely a guilty pleasure. All right, now let's talk about your spouse, if you don't mind.
Not at all.
What's the situation there?
So at the beginning, just maybe about 6 months into starting Gimme A Break, the nonprofit that
Yeah.
we, and caring for all these wonderful caregivers, a diagnosis came in for cancer. So polycythemia vera, which is PV for short, is a blood cancer. And so it's manageable with low dose chemo and lifestyle changes, diet changes. But the maintenance itself is still hard. And basically, you become a ticking time bomb because it thickens your blood to the point where it could not flow or cause clotting that could, at any point in time, affect your life. So it's just a constant maintenance and doing all the right things. So yeah, I became a caregiver again.
Mm.
Yeah.
Gosh, our lives seem to have a lot of parallels.
Yes.
'Cause, my husband had blood cancer. It was blood cancer also. His was MDS
Yes.
and
Yeah.
just diagnosed
And it's funny
very
because
late.
it's not like, it's not something that because it's so internal, and
Yeah.
because people don't always see that as it's not a loss of hair kind of thing, right? And you don't always see that. So blood cancers are really tough, and they do affect every part of what you do, everything you do. And yeah, so then you're also constantly going day to day not knowing, I mean, I remember when I was a mom the first time, and you go up to your baby and you check to see if they're breathing, and I didn't think I'd ever get to that point in my life where I would do that even now,
Yes.
to the love of my life, right? To be
Yeah.
able to see in the middle of the night, are you breathing? Are you okay? Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. Sorry.
All right. So, in the midst of all this, you're still obviously 5 years ago, still in your caregiving journey, the thick of it,
Yes.
and yet you still decided that you were going to do something selfless and start Give Me a Break, right?
Right. Right. Well, that was the thing, right? I didn't want to see any caregiver go through what I went through. So I was going to do everything I could to change that. And so, whatever that meant, and it's morphed into so many things. Where even now, to the list of all the things that Give Me a Break does, we're adding advocacy.
Mm.
So, we give support, community, outreach. We do pamper sessions. We help caregivers to practice mindfulness in the moment. We educate. So, there's so much that Give Me a Break is doing now, which is wonderful. And I'm so proud of the team that we have and the effort that we put in. We're all volunteers. No one gets paid. Everyone gives of their time. And yeah, I would love to see this spread throughout the globe, because I think every neighborhood needs a Give Me a Break, because that's what we all need. We just need that moment to regroup and survive. So one of the reasons too, I didn't mention earlier, but when I first heard this statistic, it scared the bejesus out of me, right? It was at that time, 30% of caregivers would pass before the one they're caring for.
Yeah.
And it's gone up to 50% in the last 5 years. So it's now at 50% of caregivers will pass before the one that they're caring for. And we're here to change that statistic. A lot of it the rise, of course, came from the pandemic, but we're changing that now. We're hoping to bring that statistic back down again. We want caregivers to survive. And that's why I talk about caregiver survival all the time and what you can do in a moment to survive caregiving. I almost didn't, and everyone else should. So caregiving should be a joy, not something that is a death sentence.
Very true.
Yeah.
What do you see? What do you typically see the caregivers that you meet? What are they feeling? What do they need?
Yeah, they're exhausted. They
Yeah,
need respite. Respite's a really big one, and they need respite. They need a break. But not a lot of caregivers can get breaks, and breaks are costly too if you take more than a day. So again, we're trying to provide you a way to take moments throughout your day so that you practice wellness. Because you don't need a spa, and you don't, not the spas aren't great, trust me, they're wonderful if you can get to them and get a massage, by all means. Guilt free, you deserve it, caregivers. But I would say that if you can practice in the moment, if you can learn a quick 1 minute meditation, if you can take 2 minutes to breathe, if you can take 3 minutes to just get off your feet and do something positive that feeds your body and your soul, then your survival rate increases each time. And of course, community, having that support from a care group, that's going to make a big difference in our survival as well. It made a big difference to mine.
absolutely. I think self-care comes in so many different forms that it just doesn't come to mind.
Yeah.
And I've talked about it before, but for me, self-care was creating boundaries and learning to say no.
Yeah.
Because I would overcommit myself to other people or other organizations. And I didn't have the capacity to begin with. So I was spreading myself way too thin, and I was responsible for making my life more stressful than it had to be.
Yeah. And understanding that you're not saying no to the person, you're saying no to the moment, and that
Right.
life is in moments. And if you look at that differently, it helps you to make better decisions about those moments. I think that's a really big one. And as a caregiver, we don't see moments. We just see one big long drudgery. And we have to kind of divvy that up a little better so that we can enjoy those moments. But that's also what the Giver's Guides magazine is all about. That's the magazine that we publish for caregivers. It's online, so easy to use. But we've got articles in there too about tips and how to get through that. So that's a wonderful thing as well.
And so it doesn't matter that you're in Hawaii. I mean, I think I can speak for everyone listening. We'd love to come visit you in person, but now everything's online. So anyone can join
Yes.
it's
Anyone can
Tuesday, your
sign up. Anyone
Tuesday support
can.
group.
Yes, anyone can come in, anyone can join up, anyone can log in. It's open to the public. And of course, we would love for anyone who wants to start something up anywhere. We are just starting a chapter in Houston, and we're looking forward to more locations so that get a group of caregivers together, and we'll support you through it. It's again, it is voluntary, so this isn't a money-making scheme. This is an opportunity to share with your community and to give back.
My goodness, I love that so much. So is it because of then your partner that you've been able to not go back to a paying job? Is that what's affording you the opportunity to do this?
Yes and no. I am also working part-time now though. So I do a
Okay.
part-time job, and we keep expenses down. We live very simply,
Yeah.
and here in Hawaii, especially. So, yeah. But, and I'm also officially retired now. I'm on Social Security. So that helped out just in the past month. That helps out a lot as well and takes a lot of worry off the plate.
Of
We
course.
would love to one day be covered by grants or sponsors, so
Sure.
that could help pay salaries to people who are working so hard. That would be great.
I'll tell you, I have been involved for about 10 or 12 years with a small business women's networking organization that a local woman started. And, the passion that she has reminds me of the passion that you have, and she makes no money from it. And she just is there to, see her mission through and to help other people, because it's called BW Nice Businesswomen Networking Involved in Charity and Education. So you're tied to a local charity. So it's not just, it's businesswomen working together to support the local charity.
Oh, I love that.
And, the level of commitment is quite extreme, but I'm speaking for you where I say it only comes because of what's inside you and how strongly you feel. And the fact that you were in such a deep depression for so long, I don't think I realized that. And how many people are out there thinking, what's wrong with me?
Yeah. Yeah, there's got to be so many. Well, and there's almost 6 million caregivers throughout the United States alone. So that's how many people are walking around feeling that way. And we need to band together as a community. One of the things that's coming up at the National Caregiving Summit is that we call ourselves the Caregiver Nation. So as a nation, we need to come together and support one another and keep each other going.
Mm. As we come to the close, tell everyone, repeat the website again, and then talk about when your show is on. And like we said, the support groups and anything else that you have that can help fellow caregivers.
Absolutely. And we're here for you. So gab808.org. Go onto our website. Everything's there. We have the Caring Caregiver Show, comes on every Wednesday. We stream on 7 platforms on social media. You can find us, go even on YouTube, Facebook, all of them. And our Givers Guides magazine is available. You can go onto the website and you can find a button to click for that as well. And if you can't afford a subscription, that's okay. There's older issues you can read that are back issues, and they're all for free. But know that all the profits go to help support Gimme A Break. So with our personal funds, with whatever we make from the magazine after all the bills are paid, and then of course with the donations that come from the heart, we keep going, and we continue to go for the past 5 years, and we'd like to go another 5 and help caregivers all over. So you're not alone. You have a community. Our sessions are every Tuesday evening, and it's all on the website.
My goodness, Savy, I can't thank you enough for being here. I can't thank you enough for all you're doing for our fellow caregivers out there, because we both know firsthand, how needed it is. And I'm so grateful to you and all you're doing. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And everyone else, all the information will be in the show notes. Please, please go check out Gimme A Break, because we all need a break. But as family caregivers, it isn't optional, right? It's 100% required. Otherwise, as she said, who knows where we'll end up, and we won't be any good to ourselves or for our carees.
Yeah,
So
you don't want to become the one needing care.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. All right, everyone. That's what I've got for you today. Just keep on keeping on, and come back next Tuesday as we continue talking about this important topic. Bye-bye.
Thanks for spending part of your day with me here on Maybe I Can, exploring possibilities one sprinkle at a time. It's been great having you, and I hope you're leaving with a spark to light up your journey to more. Remember, every big change starts with a single maybe. If you're ready to kickstart that change but not sure where to begin, I've got just the thing for you. Head over to download my free guide, The One Critical Step to Kickstart Change, and take that all-important first step. Let's make those maybes into reality one sprinkle at a time. Catch you next Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, with more stories, tips, and that extra push you might need. I'm Debbie saying goodbye for now, but always remember, maybe, just maybe, you can.